Hi there, welcome to the Riley Strain case. I wanted to present to you some of the latest breaking news on the case, and it's to do with Riley Strain's bank and card activity on the day he went missing, which was March 8th, 2024. Now, we've heard about the original story of Riley being with his fraternity brothers at a bar, and that's all that was mentioned, and then being kicked out afterwards for whatever reason, and then having to make his way back to the hotel by himself, which he never did, of course. What happened to the likes of his wallet, his boots, his trousers? Well, they weren't on him at the time. I saw a comment recently about the card being found. Don't know how true that is, but in terms of the card's activity, okay? There were some people asking questions recently about, well, if his card was stolen or taken, has it been used since? Well, at least from the latest news, that isn't the case. But when looking back at the last known activity during the events leading up to Riley's disappearance, it was used by Riley himself. Now, this is going to put maybe a range of different things into perspective now, and I'm going to share with you a photo in just a second. From what it appears to be, Riley and the group of people he was with did enter multiple bars within the area. So that could possibly put into perspective the state Riley was in at the time, but it can also make you question and think at what point through those visits of bars was a possible drink spiked, in which bar did it occur. Now, with this breaking news coming about, and on top some additional news and info coming from the family, which is a little bit suspicious, but also interesting, and it does create more questions than answers at this moment in time. I'll do a video on that later, be sure to look out for it. Right now, we should just probably focus in on some additional information during the events following up to his disappearance, because it might make more sense of the matter. So let's just head on over to a photo, some kind of like map, which pinpoints the named locations and the order Riley and his friends visited in. So here we are, as you can see on screen, down below it reads, Riley Strain's card activity shows his bar stops. So I'm assuming that with each bar visited by Riley, it was with his fraternity brothers at the same time, right? So the very first trip and visit, take in mind this is in Nashville, in case you were wondering. The first bar visit by Riley was at Miranda Lambert's bar. Down below it says Casa Rosa, Miranda Lambert's, Tex-Mex and Cantina. The second visit was to Garth Brooks Bar. You see the visual there on the left-hand side, Nashville, Tennessee. Then the third visit was to Kid Rock's Bar, which is close to Miranda. And then the fourth and final one next to it was Luke Bryan's Bar. Okay? So they're all in close proximity with one another, so it's to be expected why you'd go from one place to another. Not everyone does it in life, but a range of people will do. They're hanging out and having a good time. And with the fourth bar visit being Luke Bryan's Bar, well, that's the one what we've known of, as the story said in the past, and it's the final visit and the bar which Riley Strain was kicked out of, okay? Now, there are some additional details as for some timing regarding the visits to these locations, and I'm just going to read it off right now. This is actually from one of the latest interviews with the parents. I think it was the stepfather that was talking in the interview, saying that Riley spent 1 hour at Kid Rock's Bar. 1 hour hanging out at Kid Rock's Bar. That's how long Riley was in there for, which I assume with his fraternity brothers, okay? So, you know, spending an hour in Kid Rock's Bar, probably going to have a couple of drinks, right? If it's alcohol, you would think, okay? But then afterwards, after, you know, the third visit to Kid Rock's Bar, the final visit, number 4, Luke Bryan's Bar, it was said that Riley only spent 21 minutes in the bar. And while spending 21 minutes in the bar, he ordered 1 drink, which was the rum and cola, the one which he claimed to his mother that, via a text message, claimed that it tasted funny, okay? And he also ordered 2 waters, Now, why would you order 2 waters? Is it because of how he was feeling at the time? He needed to come down, he needed to sober up, he needed to control himself. Was he already experiencing side effects from that drink he had from the 4th bar? Or is it some kind of accumulation from all the different bar visits as time was spent from each place? Now, I don't know about the 2nd bar, Garth Brooks, how much time was spent there, but you get the idea. And as for the 1st visit, I'm not sure how much time was spent there. But an hour here, maybe an hour there. And the only reason why it was only 21 minutes at the final bar is because he was kicked out. So he didn't really have much time to hang about. But whilst all the visits beforehand, you know, drinking whatever and participating there, did it catch up with him? And if his drink was spiked, at which bar did it occur? At what time? That's the question there, right? Was there any other details to mention? Well, there is, but we can bring that up in the later video at night, later on. So be on the lookout for it. But I just wanted to show you this on screen so you can put things into perspective. I mean, from my point of view, okay? Originally, when I thought maybe he was just simply drunk, okay, from consuming alcohol, then finding out in the order that at Luke Bryan's bar, he only ordered 1 alcoholic drink. I was thinking, how can 1 alcoholic drink make him supposedly drunk just like that? Surely the drink must have had something else in it, such as spiked, for him to have side effects from it, right? But then from hearing about this news that there was multiple bar visits, what it puts into perspective is at any of the bars, a drink could have been spiked, let's just say. And as well, being to multiple bars before the 4th one, a build-up in alcohol consumption, right? If he's going to spend an hour at Kid Rock's bar, probably a few drinks ordered in, right? And then at number 2 and number 1, more drinks ordered back then. I mean, some people may start the night off easy and some might go all in straight away and then slow down as the night gets later because the body can't take it as much. Maybe it varies from person to person on how alcohol plays an effect on them and how fast it takes for them to get drunk, or does it take longer? I'm not sure the case with Riley Strain, but it just puts those questions in that it seems somewhat evident that you'd expect a person could get drunk just by visiting multiple bars and having multiple alcoholic drinks. Okay, I would expect that. It wouldn't surprise me. But the questions of a drink being spiked, people say nowadays, just in life, that it's more likely for a person's drink to be spiked more nowadays than in the past. And of course, the longer you spend out in a bar or a club, the more chances are that someone might pass by and spike your drink. Now, you throw it into the mix that you've got multiple bar visits to different locations, the chances of a drink being spiked probably do go up much higher in chance. Correct me if I'm wrong, but that's what I would say. Because you go into multiple different bars, which will have multiple different people. And in one of those bars, you might come across a bad person. You might be wrong place, wrong time. If you're exposing yourself more, not in that sense, but exposing yourself more to nightlife and different clubs and bars, which have different types of people in them, the chances of running into some kind of danger do increase compared to if you went to one bar and spent 10 minutes inside and then left, right? The chances do change depending on the factors. And I think here, the intent of going from bar to bar, normal behaviour, if you're out with people, having a good time, celebrating, just having fun. But in terms of what you could come across, especially night time, the risk does increase. And that can apply to both genders, okay? So let me know your thoughts down below in the comment section. So from the recent interview with the parents, the mother does think that there could be a chance that some of it was put into the drink of Riley's at the time of when he claimed it tasted like barbecue, and that was at the 4th and final bar visit. But is there a small chance that one of Riley's drinks was spiked at Kid Rock's bar? or the second or the first Miranda's bar, you know. Got to try and put into perspective, how long does it take for a spiked drink to work through your system and then take control of you and you start feeling side effects? How long does it actually take? Maybe not as long as you think. So I'm just trying to understand that aspect, because if they've just left Kid Rock's bar and then they've gone to this fourth and final one, was it in between then a drink was spiked from Kid Rock to the fourth and final bar, or did it literally happen at the fourth bar when just only one drink was ordered and it just happened to be slipped in somehow? And the only additional features and factors to add in, and it can be reiterated again later on in the full video, but the parents were highlighting about CCTV footage that needs to be looked at, and it was about supposedly 136 cameras in one of the bars, the final one, I think, which is quite a lot, to be honest. So the bar must be of a decent size then. But I can understand for safety reasons, for insurance reasons, you'd have multiple cameras up for different reasons. Would it have picked anything up at the time? Someone near to the drink, someone walking by? Who knows? That's still pending at this moment in time. Of course, updates can be provided if they are ever given. As for the other bars, don't know about those CCTV cameras. It depends where they want to look, or tick each bar off the list for any unusual activity, right? Anything else to mention? The stepfather, I think it's the stepfather, correct me if I'm wrong, the guy with the beard, in the interview was mentioning how when going to the fourth and final bar, because of the regulations and rules to get on in and pay to enter or so supposedly, if that was such a big ordeal or a problem within that 21-minute period of getting there and then being able to order a drink, how does that come into play? There shouldn't have been any problems before entering. You should have been able to go on in and then order the drink, and then he, you know, had it, and then maybe showed signs of some kind of concern, or maybe no one was concerned with him, but saw that he was changing in mood or behaviour, hence why then he himself ordered 2 drinks of water, maybe because he was having some kind of side effects from the drink. Did he appear dehydrated? Was he sweating? Did he need to cool down? Was he using the water to sober up, or just for hydration? I wonder, right? There's still a few unanswered questions there, but what it puts into perspective now is that there was multiple bar visits, and at any one of them, something could have gone wrong, right? And just the general theme of, if Riley was already drunk, let's just say, or somewhat drunk from the multiple bar visits, by the final bar he visited, maybe he wasn't quite there with it. So if someone did put something in his drink, he may have not paid much attention to it, let's just say. A little bit more vulnerable, less awareness, right? So one thing can lead to another. Could have been drunk, then could have been spiked, or just simply spiked. It depends what state he was in before the 4th visit, and that's not really been mentioned specifically. But nevertheless, any updates that come, I can always do a video. Now, just as a brief introduction to, you know, understand what to expect next with my next coverage, later on tonight, it will be a live premiere, an actual live premiere, so feel free to join along. Like 2000 hours, 2030, the time, probably. You can work it out yourself. It's not that difficult. And what I'm basically gonna do is like a summary from the actual official news interview with the family and people. I'm going to do a summary just simply because of copyright. I don't want to be using other people's footage quite like that because I don't trust it. And on top of it, to be honest with you, I think it's more natural and original, me narrating and summarising the important points of what was talked about in those interviews, and then I can add on with my additional thoughts and opinions, and you can share your thoughts as well in the live chat if you're there during the live premiere, okay? And then we'll see where we go from there. So be on the lookout for that. I'll see you there if you do show up. Goodbye for now.